Hello, everyone. Michael Jordan fans are the best. And I'd like to introduce everybody on the panel, and I hope that everyone in the live chat has a great day. I was about to introduce your chair, AOH. No, but
Go ahead. Be
but
as
we
effective as I'll be.
but we got AOH here. How you doing today?
Shitty, real fucking shitty.
Yep, I'm sure I have an idea why, and I guess we'll get into that. We got Robin down here. How you doing today, sir?
Yo, what's up, everybody out there, man? Shout out to everybody in the chat. I'm ready to do it, guys. You know the deal, baby. Let's roll.
We got Nick up here.
Mavs up 2-1. Let's go.
And we got Hoop God.
Hey, yo, the Nuggets, hey, they going to close this thing out in Denver, man. We're going to build on the truth and demolish the lies and the narratives.
Yep. I haven't made great health, life, and nutritional choices lately, as from my friend Robin down here always preaches to do so. So I might be a little behind the ball here. But today we're going to be asking the question, should LeBron James retire from the game of basketball? And just how everything's been going lately, especially with the series with the Nuggets. But first, Nick, do you think that LeBron James, or LeBron's James, as I almost had a Freudian slip, should retire from the game of basketball this year?
And specifically after this year, again, should he's it's an interesting question, because a piece of me as a player and competitor says you play until the wheels fall off, right? You play the game until you literally can't play anymore. At the same time, I think there's really no smooth exit for LeBron. A commenter said it pretty well. He's like an albatross around the neck of the league right now. And the transition, him retiring to who's going to be next or what the league will pivot to after him, I think will be very interesting. So should he retire? Personally, no. From a business standpoint, I do think the league might be a little better cutting ties and pivoting and moving on. I don't see a graceful exit for LeBron. I just don't, right? He's never going to be a role player or anything like that. And I think he's not going to win any more rings. I don't think so. Cut your losses, I would say. In the end, I would say, yeah, I think he maybe should retire. He also wants to play with his kid. That's my theory, right? I'm sticking to that theory. Will he and should he are two different things, but should he, I don't see a smooth exit for him. So yeah, I mean, it maybe wouldn't, depending on what happens this year. Yeah, maybe he should retire, but I don't think he will.
All right. Hoop God, what do you have to say about all this?
Well, anybody with self-awareness and, they understand where they are in their career, I would say anybody who was an upright individual, well, of course they would retire. But, we got to understand who we're talking about. This is a narcissist. This is somebody who has to pay people like a politician to push these narratives and these agendas and things of that nature. So when you look at it from that perspective, of course he's not going to retire. He got too many people on his payroll. It's kind of like you created your own you created an issue where now you have to keep playing in order to keep paying, because if he was just someone who really went out there and played basketball for the love of the game and just went out there and just like ignored all the BS, there's no telling what he could have accomplished. But when you're so dead set on trying to utilize skullduggery to convince people and manipulate them, now it's, you're in a position where you have to continue doing that, because if you don't, we've seen certain people in the media speak a certain way when that clutch check doesn't clear, So that's what I'm looking at it. And then I can't forget about what an NNB stated as well. I know he wants to play with his son, which, I can't knock that. But I feel like an individual like himself, there's a hidden agenda there. Like, yeah, you're telling us you want to play with your son, but behind closed doors, no, you want to fill up the stat sheets because you couldn't catch Michael Jordan in the championships and the finals MVP. So now he has to pivot and say, okay, well, I'm the only player that got all-time leading and score points, assists, rebounds, steals, block. Who cares? I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. Emmitt Smith has the all-time leading rushing records. He's not better than Barry. He's not even in my top 5. So that's what we're That's where we're at right now with the whole LeBron James agenda. He wants to fill up all the accumulative totals so that can be his saving grace, because they want to take you away from winning and say, well, look at these stats. Nobody cares about stats. To sum it up, should he retire? Yes, but no, he won't.
All right. AOH, what do you got to say about this?
I was a little bit torn just because of, if you can take it lightly, he provides some entertainment. But it goes way beyond him. The damage that is happening because of him is too much. Like, I heard Bob Myers last night compliment him for screaming at the referees. This is how bad it's gotten. No matter what LeBron James does, it's complimented. I mean, the fucking guy should have been ejected for his behavior, and you have commentators complimenting him on it. Oh, look at the passion at age 39. He's keeping his team involved by fucking deserving technicals. Holy Christ. Okay, listen. We can't move on to giving people credit like they deserve while he's out there, because what Jokic has been doing is unprecedented. And they're the defending champs. Why aren't I hearing commentators, if they're going to make excuses, talk about how Jokic's team isn't delivering for him? I got to hear about guys on the Laker bench that are getting 5 minutes a game, not providing points, when the starters for the Denver Nuggets look like they're scared of the rim. And you got multiple people on the bench scoring 0 points. Where I'm just sick of, no matter what LeBron does, no matter how much he's being carried, it's always someone else's fault. We can't even move on to start making excuses for someone else, because they're so fixed on this guy that we can't even look at how the Nuggets are failing. And you know, that sellout awful coaching who keeps talking about the Lakers defense being terrible. The Lakers defense was stifling. When are people going to give Austin Reeves and D'Lo some credit for harassing the shit out of Jamal Murray? How many times were the Nuggets stuck up at the top of the key? You saw Jokic get stripped twice. What's he doing up there holding the ball with no one to get the ball to? I mean, I don't know. I got the things I've seen happen in the NBA, the scripts that have been carried out. I can't relax as long as that bullshit is happening, because you could actually imagine, just because it's never been done before, Adam Silver wanting LeBron to be the guy who's come back from 3 down for the first time in history. I mean, God forbid that actually happens. But this is the type of thing that happens in your mind when you see people constantly try and write a new script for him. I mean, the in-season tournament existed because of LeBron James and his failures. The play-in tournament exists because of LeBron James and his failures. Suspending a guy who didn't even have a foul called on him in the live game in the NBA Finals happened because of LeBron James. I mean, this shit's crazy. And he's on TV setting a bad example to the next generation, and our commentators are complimenting him for it. See, I'm fucking angry. I'm ready for him to retire. I mean, when am I ever going to get to going through the details of all the shit he's done in the past, when every day I've got to create a new video about what he did last night?
AOH almost sounded like Robin. Robin, what's your take on all of this?
That was a hostile one right there, man. My man LOH came out smoking right now early on. But yeah, I mean, listen, I think we can look at this 2 different ways, man. This is a very, we can go many different ways on this subject, like you guys have been mentioning. So we can look at it 2 different ways. For me, it's like, should LeBron James retire, or like, do we want LeBron James to retire? Do the fans want LeBron James to retire? And I think a lot of true basketball fans of the game, the actual game of basketball, that respect the game of basketball, that really value, and love the game. Like I said, to respect all these things, like the past errors that we're always talking about, man, right? These people definitely want LeBron James to retire, because like my man AOH was just talking about, he's hurt the game of basketball by what? Now they have the flopping guidelines, the low managing guidelines, the play-in tournament, right? All of these things, right, that have happened during the LeBron James, quote unquote, the LeBron James era. So we've seen that the LeBron James era has taken the the league in a negative way, right? Michael Jordan gave the players the power, right? The player empowerment that they say LeBron James gave the NBA players. No, LeBron James gave us player entitlement, where the players feel they're entitled to do whatever they want, go play with whoever they want, ask for whatever kind of money they want, and never really show up for the 80, 82 games, go through the motions, lollygag, duck certain teams, all these kinds of things. They still want the money, though, and they still want the respect, so it doesn't add up. So obviously, LeBron James should retire because, like you guys were mentioning, all he's really doing now is hurting his legacy. See, a lot of the LeBron James fans, they're of the mind, even the media, that what? LeBron James can't hurt his legacy anymore. They'll say things like what? Oh, LeBron James' legacy is set in stone. No, LeBron James being a Hall of Famer, LeBron James being an all-time great, yes, those things are set in stone. He's going to always be an all-time great. He's always going to be a Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. However, your legacy can be tarnished. And LeBron James has tarnished that very legacy by continuing to play all these extra seasons that he's played by going through the motions. We've said it many times. LeBron James has not made one all-defensive team in his 30s. In his 30s. I mean, just think about how that sounds when you say it out loud. But they'll keep telling us that LeBron James is the greatest athlete of all time. His durability and longevity is unmatched. But where's the longevity on the defensive end? It hasn't been there. The man's about to be 40. Has never been an all-defensive team. He's been walking around the court. Last night, I know you saw it, AOH. Last night, this man, LeBron James, was yelling to the Lakers bench for a replay of a play that they say he knocked the ball out of bounds off of him. So he's yelling at the bench. Meanwhile, they inbound the ball and score a basket, Denver Nuggets, in the fourth quarter. But LeBron James is yelling at his own bench, throwing a temper tantrum while the play is going on. It's absolutely laughable for people to believe that he cannot tarnish his legacy by continuing to play. So should LeBron James retire? Absolutely should LeBron James retire. But LeBron James is a couple of years too late on this. So like AOH and some of you guys mentioned earlier, can we let LeBron James continue to play and embarrass himself even further? Absolutely. When you hear the LeBron James fans talk about, oh, you guys would have nothing to talk about on YouTube if LeBron James wasn't around. No, you guys don't understand this. I wake up in the morning. These videos are completely off the top of the head, man. These are not scheduled videos. I'm not planning anything. I wake up and what does LeBron James give us? The same nonsense. Coming to post-game press conferences, reading off stats, blaming his teammates. They're blaming the coaching staff. He's standing there arguing fouls. Every game is the same for LeBron James. The wins and losses are irrelevant because what happens, like you guys also stated, the broadcasters, the media are going to point the finger at his teammates. So the win-win situation I've always told you guys about is always going to be there, right? The team wins. What does the headline say? LeBron James leads Lakers to victory. That's what it said last night, even though Anthony Davis had a 20-20 double-double, even though in the series, Anthony Davis is averaging 30 points and 15 rebounds. Can someone show me one time in Michael Jordan's career where his teammate averaged 30 points and 15 rebounds in an NBA playoff series? Someone show me that damn stat. They'll never see it. But somehow, some way, they point the finger at everyone else. So once again, LeBron James should retire, and we all think that, we want him to.
On a sidebar real fast, our friend Self-Research NBA Facts made a video recently about LeBron's conspiracy to get all these guys together on the super teams. In the 2010 series, him, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh were the top 4 guys in the PER advanced stat. And like in comparison to Michael Jordan with Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and the others, Horace Grants of the world or whoever, he was saying they were all in the 50s and 60s. That's just a sidebar for the help and how he had such great players alongside of him. But I digress. So should LeBron James retire? Absolutely. And this sort of stuff was being talked about a little bit earlier, saying things like, it's just basketball. And you're supposedly the greatest player in the world. Some people say you're the greatest player of all time. How do you even say that into a microphone if you have any sort of character or any sort of version of ego or self-worth? And I'm not saying I'm saying ego in a positive way. To even hold yourself in that category, you should never say that into a microphone. That's ridiculous to say, oh, it's just basketball. Talking about the failures of the team so far and how they're going forward. That's just ridiculous. And then to even be complaining into a microphone about saying, oh, the refs aren't doing these calls. Why do we even have a playback? And then getting up and walking out of the interview or the post-game press conference, to be more specific. You should retire, man. If that's your attitude and you're so lazy and you just don't care. You just say it's just basketball. To me, that's the most slap in the face to the NBA and the fans at large to say, I don't care about basketball.
But who you left out, Dart? You left out his teammates. He's so self-centered. Hey, it's just basketball to me. How about your fucking teammates that want a chance to shine? How about your teammates that this is their turn? They're not going to be in the league 21 years being carried by some bullshit narrative. This is their time, and you're fucking it up, and all you can think about is yourself.
Yep. No, and that's what I'm saying. I think he should retire just for his total attitude towards the game. And it's even though I know he wants to play with his son and he might want to extend, like a lot of you have said, his statistics and just his, in general, just staying in the league just to add on some sort of accolade or quote unquote accomplishment or be the first two sort of thing. I think he should, though. Now, the question is, my follow-on question is, Nick, and I know you, some of you have alluded to, will he, but just to clarify, will he and when will he if he doesn't do it right now? Past the should.
Sorry. I didn't hear. Go.
I was going to say so his kid is declaring for the draft he possibly could play this next year, right?
Yeah, he could if he gets drafted.
If his kid gets drafted and gets into the league or LeBron makes that happen or the NBA makes it happen or whatever, I do think he'll retire after next year. But I don't know if his kid doesn't play, maybe he sticks around for another 2 or 3. But that brings me back to what Robin said real quick. I wanted to kind of reiterate what I said originally too. And I kind of had said he should retire now because now is the time, right? If he sticks around, he becomes the guy who went off to college but still goes to high school parties. You know what I mean? Like, he's hanging around, he's tarnishing his legacy. And one thing I've always said is he's never going to pass Jordan at this point because I do not think he has the capability to be the best player on a team and lead them to a ring. I don't think he has that in him anymore. So any rings he may win from here on out aren't really going to be held in the same light as Jordan's 6, right? So I just simply think he can't ultimately catch him. And so what are you hanging around for, right? I think it does become this thing where there is no smooth exit. Like I said, it's only going to get worse from here in terms of him hanging around and not retiring now. So he definitely should. But yeah, I mean, that was just I wanted to wrap that up again real quick. Is just it's diminishing returns on what he's getting every year he sticks around. That's another way of putting it.
Yep. Hoop God, do you think when will he retire, and will he retire this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off of what NMB said. Given the fact that he would play with his son, I'm gonna just go glass half full. Then I can legitimately see him, talking to Rich Paul and all the guys in his inner circle. Basically those are his advisors because he sees himself as a pseudo king. And, they're basically going to, hey, come on, man, look, you done did everything else. You play with your son. Hey, just go out on a good tip, right? Now, on the other side, for some other reason, if he doesn't get to play with his son, just granted that he gets sent to the G League or whatever scenario. No, I think he's going to keep playing because that's the feel-good story, but it's also the hidden agenda so he can pile up those accumulative totals. Like I took note of this, not to digress, but in the 2017 finals, when the reporter was asking him, and he was like, oh, I'm averaging a triple-double. You're down 0-3 in a final series, and you're concerned about a triple-double. But then let's go further. That's all the media kept saying. Oh, LeBron James is the first person to average a triple. Yeah, but you lost, and it wasn't even particularly close. You didn't even try to guard up on Kevin Durant. So you're playing for stats. You haven't made an all-defensive team since you left Miami, right? So I'm just using deductive reasoning. You're playing for stats. I mean, there's nothing else that you're going to play for at this moment because you don't have that competitive fire like you did in Miami, So when he goes to the Lakers, what does he tell us? He's going to activate playoff mode. Okay, no playoffs. not a coincidence. Anthony Davis gets there. Boom, they take off and win the Disney bubble. I found another stat out the other day. I think you guys will be interested to hear. LeBron James' winning percentage without Anthony Davis in the playoffs for the Lakers is 0.0% of winning. I'm sorry. That's just horrible. But no, given the glass half full, I believe if Bronny does get drafted, yeah, he would hang him up because at this point, it's just only going to get worse. And people, and to be honest, people have already figured out what he's doing. But they're being paid a certain amount of compensation, so they can't say what they really want to say. So
I also think it'd be great if I'm his PR guy. It'd be great for his image to leave retiring after playing with his kid, right?
Yeah.
To leave on that note would be the best possible exit
Yeah.
and thing he could do for his legacy. If I'm his PR guy, that's what I'm thinking.
Hey, because then if you think about it, right? What is the last image that your fans
Exactly.
will see? Hugging
Goes out
with your
on an
son,
ultimate high note.
Right, and then hey, you just riding off into the sunset. So that's why I said just looking at it just from an optimistic perspective. Yes, I can see that scenario.
And another meaningless stat for fanboys to talk about. Well,
Jordan
never played with his son.
Hey, but listen, not to digress, AOH, but Jordan has 2 sons in the league right now. I won't mention any names.
But as long as every season the narrative starts with, if LeBron can do it at this age, you've got to consider him to be the GOAT. And it doesn't matter how poorly he performs. It doesn't matter how stacked his team is. If the people at home are going to be sold this story and he's never going to be held accountable and they are going to continue to say that he can't tarnish his legacy, why not keep coming back? He could fucking rest the entire time he's on the floor at age 50, and they're still going to keep saying, look what he's doing at this age. I saw someone in the comments, I don't really usually read the sidebar, but somebody thought they had a good point by saying, oh, is Steph's legacy tarnished? Well, if you listen to NBA analysts, they'd probably say so, because historically he didn't make the playoffs this year. He got beat out in the play-in. They got beat out in the play-in a year before. Now he's doing that with a what I consider to be a not so good team and an organization that doesn't seem interested in correcting flaws. That is actually going to be held against Steph Curry's legacy. LeBron James is being carried by better talent and still having a hard time making the playoffs, but they will stand there and say it doesn't hurt his legacy. There's a double standard when it comes to players, especially LeBron James. So whoever thought they were making a good point there, you actually just highlighted why it's all bullshit.
I'm still trying to figure out the Jordan Poole and Chris Paul trade. I'm still haven't figured that one out.
And all season, I mean, it was the dumbest fucking trade ever, but all season people are like, oh, the Warriors have tricked everyone. They've got this new death lineup. And the only reason that narrative was out there was in case they faced the Lakers and beat the Lakers, they could say, oh, look at this death lineup that LeBron had to face. No, it was a goddamn joke of a team giving, I have no idea why Chris Paul is there. I just don't get it. But now listening to Bob Myers suck LeBron's dick on TV, you got to wonder about everybody in every organization.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Anyways, you think that? So I know we'd all gone through the should, but will LeBron James retire? And if not, when will he retire?
What does that mean?
Yeah, to you. Yeah.
I kind of just answered that. As long as the script is going to be written that he can't be held accountable, no matter how bad things go. And I'm guessing he's a terrible husband and a terrible father, and he probably doesn't want to. No, I'm guessing he doesn't want to spend that much time at home. These people who complained about being with their buddies in the bubble in 2020, like, oh, I don't want to be away from my family. Bullshit. You guys are not family, man. Get the hell out of here.
AOH, I seen somebody leak the story saying Diddy somehow snuck into the bubble, but that's not
gotta throw that one in there. Robin, what's your take on all this?
You guys saying some really good stuff right now, man. You guys are on fire, man. But yeah, I'll say this. We know LeBron James is not going to retire until he gets that retirement, tour. He's got to let everybody know ahead of time that it's going to be his last season. There's no way that LeBron James is going to have a last season without us knowing about it ahead of time, man. I don't see that happening. It's going to have to be a whole a whole thing. It's going to be a whole show, man. Everywhere he goes, they're going to have fireworks coming out, man. They're going to have the Cirque du Soleil people there doing all kinds of stuff. They're going to have the Ringling Brothers and the Barnum and Bailey Circus out there, man. They're going to have all kinds of things going on every city he goes to for LeBron James. And the funny thing about it is, it's funny. Like sometimes you guys ever heard of when they're going to let somebody go from a job, they'll have like a breakfast for that person, right? Let them go nice and they'll get the omelet bar for that person, right? Let them off easy. They're about to do layoffs, right? Everyone's going to get laid off. So they have a breakfast for everybody, right? This is LeBron James, man. He's not going to be getting these things because people love him and have all this adulation for him. He's going to pay for all this stuff out of his own pocket, man. He ain't going to get the omelet bar. He has to pay for the omelet bar. So all the things that's going to be going on in all these cities that he goes to, it's going to be him paying for these things. It's going to be the clutch sports people, man, out of their pocket, man, because the true fans of basketball, they're done with this man. So is LeBron James going to retire next year? Maybe he'll retire next year, but the only way he's going to retire next year is if we know ahead of time that LeBron James is going into his last and final season so that everywhere he goes, he can get celebrated. The funny thing will be, is LeBron James going to play all 82 games in his final season in the NBA? Is he going to miss any games? Is he going to miss the celebrations at every game that he's going to go to? Or is he going to sit out and do the load managing and play 55, 60 games? That'll be the question for LeBron James.
Yeah, and for me, to talk a little bit about do I think he will retire? I think that if he had lost last night, I think that would have been more of a real possibility, especially if people gave it to him hard. I'm not sure if it would have happened. I don't think it's going to happen at this point that he'll retire this year because of what all of you had said, specifically just looking into playing with his son, not having the send-off. Amongst other things. But yeah, so AOH had said, and I think this is probably the most poignant answer in respect to when it'll happen. It's when it doesn't, when it's not going to sell or when it's not going to be as impactful media wise, because otherwise why stop when he's not going to be held accountable and it's just all going to be positive in respect to his legacy, or at least how it's being sold in the mainstream media. So why stop? Because if you stop now and you're still accumulating all these points, you're able to play with your son, you're able to do the first of a bunch of things, and nobody's going to say, well, you just say it's just about basketball, or you're not taking accountability for things and people don't care about that, then why stop? So will he do it? I don't think so. Until he's either just done with it himself, which I don't think he's done with it in respect to. Rex was in here earlier talking about how much money they make every year and such. Yeah, why stop when you're making so much money? And they don't care that you say this stuff on air and in a microphone. So why? But Robin brought up a great point in respect to it was mentioned before, but just recently said the going away, the retirement, whatever, I forget what you call it, the league tour, the retirement tour. Nick, what do you think is one of the narratives that will be spewed when LeBron eventually retires during his narrative tour? Do you think that they'll say that while he's going around the league? Because I think everyone's in agreement here, maybe, and if you're not, please say so, that he'll get a retirement tour. What do you think are some of the narratives that they'll spew during the retirement tour, i.e. he's the greatest of all time and stuff?
I think one of the ways they're going to try and phrase this is greatest athlete of all time or something like that. They're going to try and insert it somehow. But in terms of specific narratives, obviously they're going to hammer home the longevity, the totality, the accumulation, right? The statistical output over the years, playing with this kid. They'll probably talk about him as an ambassador, although half of us will disagree with that, right? And half will agree, probably something like that. But I don't think they're gonna ever actually say, anyone will say he's greater than Michael Jordan as he's retiring, right? I still don't think anyone will say that. They're gonna try and beat around the bush or say any kind of euphemism they can to greatest athlete, the most accomplished basketball player, something like that, right? But I don't think anyone will have the nuts to say he's definitely greater than Michael Jordan. Everyone should appreciate this is the greatest basketball player ever, hands down. I don't think they'll say that, but they'll say everything but that, if that makes sense. They'll try to plant the seed, right? They'll try to say it without saying it.
Gotcha, I gotcha. What about you, Hoop God?
Yeah, what NB's saying is spot on, because y'all got to understand the media, they're very deceptive, especially when they have to promote a certain particular player. And it's a phrase that I like. It's called depiction versus perception, right? So what NB stated, they're going to try to frame this with his counting numbers, and not the per game, but the cumulative totals. They're going to try to frame his athleticism, which he's not better than Wilt, but of course they have to do that. And then of course his parenting, which that's something I can't knock, because him as a parent, raise those two boys, hey, that's upstanding. However, y'all ready for this? It's a smokescreen for the losing. Because you don't think of LeBron as a winner. Tom Brady, winner. Michael Jordan, winner. Kobe Bryant, winner. Wayne Gretzky, winner. Jerry Rice, winner. See, those guys are all known for winning. You don't think of LeBron as a winner. So that's why they're going to have to create something else to make you think, oh, well, winning doesn't matter. Oh, that's a damn lie. Just listen to the great Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. Listen to the great Bill Belichick. Stats are for losers. Winning is the end result. See, that's what they're going to have to do. And that's one thing. If you don't know how the media operates, and this is to the people in the chat that actually has a high IQ, understand what spotlighting is. Just understand that term, because they will spotlight who they love and who they revere. Now, I'm saying it to say this. As far as the farewell tour, I think it's gonna vote well for him, but it's still not gonna be on the level of Kobe. And the reason why I'm saying it is Kobe did not try to seek out love and gratification. The people who didn't even like him ultimately began loving him in his last season once they saw what he did for the game. And I'm saying it to say, look how the WNBA, all the top scorers or the top players speak on Kobe, right? Look at the guys playing today, how they speak on Kobe. Look at his peers, how they speak on Kobe. Nobody's going to LeBron and say, hey, LeBron, can you teach me how to get better at my game? No, they're not. But what they will say is, hey, LeBron, can you teach me some of your business insight and things of this nature so I can set myself up for the future? Because I'll give him that. With his PR team, they set him up for his off-court endeavors 10, 15 years from now, once he's done playing. But, yeah, as far as the whole retirement and everything, how it's going to go, yeah, they're gonna spotlight it as best as they can. But again, it's just going to be a smokescreen for all the losing that he's done in so many words. So to sum it up, that to me, that's the only way they're going to be able to frame it, because you're not going to look at him as what? Winning, when you've lost more than you won.
I thought you were going to say the smokescreen for Liddy, but that's a side part. But yeah. Anyway, AOH, what do you think is going to go on with this farewell tour? Unless you think there won't be one.
You're probably right. With that ego, he would have to announce it, and yeah, it feels like it's been a farewell tour for 5 years. No, it really does. But what's on my mind is what you said before you started broadcasting live, how their side will change the argument in order to have an argument. And I just put out that video yesterday showing LeBron's shot attempts versus D'Lo's shot attempts. And if you haven't watched it, you should. You just see LeBron like dribbling, looking down at the floor. He has no interest in where his teammates are whatsoever. He sees an easy opportunity to pad his stats, and he goes for it. And, he was 16% from the perimeter. D'Lo was 0% from the perimeter. Well, how do you get your stats up? Transition, layups and dunks where your team plays defense and throws you the ball. And somebody said, well, what's wrong with points in the paint? They still count. Well, my video title isn't points in the paint don't count. It's what if D'Lo took LeBron's shots? So there they are. They're changing the argument. The argument never was that the points don't count. It's that LeBron, who is self-declared the GOAT and called by other people the GOAT, can't make a perimeter shot and must rely upon at the rim shots, most of which are bulldozing offensive fouls that he gets away with. It's ugly basketball. You want to call him the GOAT when he's playing ugly basketball and is afraid of taking perimeter shots, and then change the argument to, well, what's the matter with scoring at the rim? They're always going to change the argument to defend him, no matter how ugly his basketball is. I'm tired of it. A day ago, I was like, let him play another year. I'll keep making fun of him. But I'm just fucking tired of it. It's terrible.
On a sidebar real fast before you, Robin, that's how I felt about the podcast. I watched some of the second one. I'm like, man, I'm over this podcast, because I sat there and thought I was just going to make fun of it over and over again. And I got tired of it after the second episode.
Didn't he recently assemble a group of buddies to agree with him that he should have gotten Defensive Player of the Year? I mean, that's everything he does is try to rewrite history. And I'm going to present that I was robbed of getting Defensive Player of the Year, and I'm going to invite my buddies in and see what they have to say about it.
Yeah. More begging and pleading. I mean, Marc Gasol clearly had the better defensive rating, the better defensive box plus minus, the better defensive win shares, averaged more blocks and rebounds. But yeah, somehow LeBron James got robbed, even though he wasn't even amongst the top 70 in some of those categories. Okay, yeah.
Robin, what do you think is going to happen with this farewell tour, if you had to predict it?
Yeah, you guys around the money, man. It's going to be more the same. It's going to be the continuation of the narratives and the lies, the rewriting of history, the bending of reality. I mean, look in the chat right here. You see some of the LeBron James fools in here yucking it up. And once again, what are they talking about? Narrative. It's all narratives with these clowns, man. They repeat the same things over and over. They never have any factual evidence. They can never do any videos. I keep telling these fools to tag me in a video, put themselves on camera, dispute any of my videos, anything that I say, because they're always telling us that we don't know basketball. But then when you challenge them to put themselves on camera, make a video, explain it, they can't do it because everything is narratives. So for this, farewell tour, whatever it's going to be more of the same. It's going to be the narratives about LeBron James. They're going to hype up all the longevity, how long he's been playing. One of the LeBron James fans said in the comments, why does he have to play 82 games? See the mindset of these people? Why show up to work? So I asked this person, why show up to work? Please answer me in the chat. You're an idiot. You fools don't understand, man. You have no clue about how the real world works. Once again, you're not in reality. Why does he have to play 82 games? And then they'll try to say and make a big deal because he played 70 games this season. Well, Michael Jordan played 82 games when he was 40 years old, man, and he didn't cry and moan about it. It wasn't even a big deal. It was just something Michael Jordan did. He just went out and did it. The only reason it's brought up now is because we must, once again, push back against this nonsense. No one was ecstatic about Michael Jordan playing 82 games when I was growing up because everybody was doing it. It was part of what these guys did because they were true professionals. They loved the game. They were getting paid. They showed up to work. So when you hear these guys talk about this stuff in the chat, this is what's going to happen during the tour, man. It's going to be the LeBron James tour. But like I told you, it won't be genuine. LeBron James can have 150 million followers on social media, on Twitter or X, whatever they call it, Instagram, wherever it is. He can have all of these numbers about how many people follow him and all these things. But it doesn't add up to the sales of his sneakers. None of this stuff. There's no one wearing this stuff. You go out in town, I don't see anyone wearing LeBron James sneakers. No one's buying these things. So where are all the followers of LeBron James? Where are all the true fans of LeBron James? I told you, this man's fame is fraudulent. This man went to a Super Bowl and was booed. What? You guys point to me anytime that Michael Jordan's been out in public and he's been booed. It's never happened. The man was actually given the loudest ovation at the 75th anniversary that they didn't even know he was going to show up to. Michael Jordan showed up and shut it down in LeBron James's home, even though he was killing the Cavaliers throughout his entire career. That's the true fame. Kobe Bryant has over 300 murals all throughout the world. All throughout the world. LeBron James couldn't even get one in LA. He couldn't even get one in LA. They were vandalizing it Every time they try to wash it off and fix it, they vandalize it again, man. They have no respect for this man. Those are the true LA Laker fans that were doing that stuff, man. They don't respect the antics of LeBron James. Hey, yo, wait, you mentioned someone said something about Steph Curry and is his legacy going to be affected? Once again, these people are wrapped up in the wins and the losses and the numbers. That's not why LeBron James' career is actually being affected and his legacy is being tarnished. Point me out to the video where Steph Curry's yelling at Steve Kerr to make a replay while the play is going on behind him and the team is scoring. You won't see those videos. Please show me the video of Steph Curry walking off the court with 3, 4, 5 minutes left to go in the game. You will not see these videos. So show me the video of Steph Curry crying and screaming in everyone's face, blaming everybody else. Steph Curry always seems to take the responsibility and the blame, even though he's playing with idiot Draymond Green, who never can keep himself on the court, Andrew Wiggins, who's a freaking head case. And this is the team that he's got around him. Klay Thompson, who hasn't been Klay Thompson in like 3 seasons. But somehow, Steph Curry's legacy is going to be affected like LeBron James. No, LeBron James' career is being affected. His legacy is being tarnished because he's load managing. He's flopping even though he's 6'9", 260. He's getting guarded by guys who are 6'2". But his fans keep telling us that Michael Jordan was guarded by short people. It's more than narratives, man. It's a joke. And that's all it's going to be during his retirement tour, man. It's a straight joke.
Robin, I got to jump on your 82 game part because it's not just the fact that these guys don't even understand the work ethic that, you know, you should strive to show up to 82 games. It's that they simultaneously want to celebrate the consecutive double-digit scoring figure. Like, how does it not occur to you that sitting out whenever you want to and coming back to play against who you want when you feel good allows you to continue that bullshit consecutive scoring? If you play all 82 games, even when you feel like crap and have that record, go ahead and brag then. But when you sit out whenever the hell you want to and play whenever the hell you want to, and they still call it consecutive, it's bullshit.
Word. Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
One thing about Curry's legacy versus LeBron, right? What is Curry's legacy? Curry's legacy is that he's the greatest three-point shooter we've ever seen, right? Hands down. That legacy will never be tarnished or ruined, no matter, you know, unless he literally turns into a crackhead and murders 3 people or something crazy, right? That legacy will never be tarnished, right? That legacy is not going anywhere. What is LeBron's legacy? LeBron's legacy is he's trying to catch Jordan. That's what it's been from day one. That's what the LeBron fans argue. That's what the whole thing has been about. He's never going to get there. And the more he hangs around, the more that legacy is tarnished. The more people say it just wasn't the same as Jordan, right? So you have to put into context what their legacies are, right? Curry's legacy is cemented. It's not going anywhere. LeBron, I'm not sure if he's fully done what his legacy was supposed to be.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
we got
and look, y'all, look at the responses, man. Y'all are butthurt. That's your response? Butthurt? See what I'm saying? They can't even challenge it because they know there's no video of Steph Curry walking off the court with 3, 4, 5 minutes. There's no video of these things. With LeBron James standing there arguing with they can't answer to any of this stuff, man. LeBron James a clown, man. He came to the post-game press conference dressed like Gilligan, and he wants more of the same, man. Blaming everybody else, man. It's always someone else's fault, never LeBron James' fault, and it's more the same for his fans. This is why they don't understand, like my man Airway said, the concept of 82 games. It's not about the games, man. It's the principles, man. Like I said, showing up to work when you're getting paid to do so.
Been around the world and only stupid people are breeding. So there's a chance. There's a chance LeBron will become more popular someday.
Yeah. Real fast, we got the super chat from Recipes with Reed. Again, I'm not sure who this is going to, and we're having a good conversation. So please, if you're going to super chat somebody, say who it is, and then they can address it. But I think this is a good thing to talk about too. But somebody was super chat $5 US. LeBron can't retire. He has to defend his in-season championship. Do you think that? I guess we'll start with Nick here. Do you think that the in-season championship is going to be something that people moving forward are going to regard in a high respect?
No.
Okay.
No. Let me just stop you right there. No. No, it won't. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I think it's cool. Like at first I was a little sour on it. I just thought this is just all antics. But you gotta spice it up sometimes. It's okay to change it up. It didn't have like a massive effect on anything, right? So like I actually kind of looking back, I like it. That being said, it doesn't mean anything legacy wise, right? It's just something to kind of throw a little flair and mix it up a little bit. I'm okay with that. And ratings, it's all about ratings, right? As much as we hate sometimes how money and stuff has changed the game, you got to get eyeballs, right? And doing something that is harmless like that, I think is a good idea. It's like high reward, low risk. But does it mean anything? No, absolutely not. Not in the debates we're talking about. Not in terms of legacy, or when you go look up someone's career, like, oh, they won 4 in-season championships. Wow, I'm really gonna take that into account, and now I think higher of this player. I don't think so.
I don't know. I think it's.
I was gonna say that's his 5th championship. Anyway,
Yeah,
so
they might try, but no. Even the average LeBron fan, if they were honest with you, I think would say it. They might say something else, but we all know it doesn't really mean anything.
But it's like putting makeup on a pig, the way that they're trying to fix the All-Star game. This is just another version of that. They didn't fix the All-Star game, but they brought out these other gimmicky events to try and distract people. And they paint the floor different every year. They have an interactive floor. How much money did the in-season tournament cost the NBA with all those stupid different floors and all the stupid different uniforms and flying everyone out to Vegas or whatever? Were the ratings that much better that it justified it? I mean, it felt like a distraction from the shit show that it is to me. And it was still a shit show. It was terrible competition.
Yep.
I kind of like the courts. I'm not gonna lie. I know that's a hot take. I kind of like the courts.
Listen, if it had been good competition, maybe, but it looked like everybody was tanking on purpose. I mean, it was really bad.
Yeah. I don't think the players took it as serious as they were hoping. You're right. That's one thing I think that kind of soured it too.
Hoopguy, what do you think about this in-season tournament? Do you think it's do you think people are going to think it's important, or how long do you think it's going to last in general?
The Pup Cup, man, that was the most ridiculous. Like, I'm really just sitting here thinking, like, so you guys are now. I'll take that back. Let me look at it from a business perspective. Okay, so you have Adam Silver and all his guys sitting around. How can we generate more ratings? Okay, that's what they're ultimately saying. So I got to shout out my man Sports and Fitness Range. You never heard that with Michael Jordan. You never heard David Stern saying, well, hey, do we need to come up with an in-season? No, because those guys understood the assignment. Okay, I'm being paid. I'm a professional. That means I have to be 1,000% locked in. Wife, children, look, I'm sorry. Y'all are going to have to take a back seat to the regular season because I'm committed to the organization and ultimately the shield. It's bigger than me. But see, Adam Silver has enabled a lot of these mama's boys that they feel like they're is just as important as the executives and the people who are over them. Everything is about hierarchy. Just like I'm a former military, shout out to you guys. I cannot go to my platoon sergeant and say, hey, I'm having this issue. But no, you know who I got to go to first? I got to go to staff sergeant. Because if I'm a team leader, I got to go to the staff sergeant first. Then he'll go to the platoon sergeant, and then we'll ultimately get to a conclusion. But no, what these guys have been able to do as the privates, they're just going straight to the top, straight to the sergeant major. No, when you allow things like that to happen, it's not going to do anything but plant seeds for chaos. When you have structure and order, you don't have to come up with these gimmicky in-season tournaments to get the ratings and all this because your players are going to adjust. And I have to quote Rick Barry. He said this. He was like, just clean up the league, clean up the traveling, clean up the moving screens, the flopping, all that nonsense because the players will adjust. Okay. When they get drafted, nobody's saying, hey, sign this contract. You're signing that contract on your own. So you need to uphold the terms and conditions of that contract. But Adam Silver, he will not put these guys in their place because he's allowed them too much freedom. And it's almost like if you don't train your dog a certain way, I'm just making an analogy. If you don't train your dog a certain way when he's in his infant stages, then how can you tell him once he's 3 years old, hey, to get off the couch? No, you let him do it. So it's too late now. You didn't instill it in him while he was young. So he's not going to listen to you now. It's almost like he's going to ignore you. But see, that's the problem when you have this whole inclusion mindset and you want to say, well, we're all about the players. No, Adam Silver, you need to be all about structure and order and tell them, hey, I'm going to tell you this is what we're not going to allow you to do, seeing that you're getting paid these amount of dollars, okay? And if you want to overstep those boundaries, cool. I'm going to hit you where you hurt. I'm going to start touching those pockets because that's how they got us in order. Granted, I never had to get my pockets touched. But ultimately, if you want to get a message across, don't yell, don't scream. Hey, I'm going to find you. I'm going to find you. So eventually, you're going to get the concept. You might not get it the first time. You might not get it the third time. But that fifth time, when you start seeing them deductions, you're going to understand. All right, you know what? Yeah, let me chill out. But honestly, all the gimmicks and in-season tournaments, like to me, it's just nonsense. And I'm not going to fault the players as much as I'm going to fault Adam Silver because he laid the foundation for that. So to sum it up, it's ridiculous. But I mean, hey, if you get desperate like that and that's what you're using to garner the ratings, I don't know. I think they're probably gonna sit back and gauge how the ratings are comparing from last year to this year. And I think around that third year, we're going to see if they're going to continue that in-season tournament. Because like I said, to me, that first go around was just ridiculous. But I don't know. They may improve it, you know. So I will give them a slight benefit of the doubt to see if they can possibly improve on it. Or he can create a new paradigm for the regular season and you can just ultimately do away with it. So I don't particularly like it, but I can't speak just from my perspective. Like I said, I'm going to just sit back and wait for the next go around and then see how it plays out from there.
Hey, wait, I know you were talking about this in-season tournament stuff a little bit. Did you have anything more to add about its impact and then going forward?
No, it's fucking stupid.
Real fast, Robin, before you go, this was you said you're still in Facebook jail, right?
Let me I saw some people in the chat asking that where was my monetary symbol to donate to my channel. So if anybody does not know, I was demonetized by YouTube, man, for reasons that I guess I'll say is due to stupidity on my end, not being aware of all the ins and outs of YouTube and the regulations and all that nonsense, man. So I will not be monetized probably until like July. So yeah, I cannot get any donations. So shout out to all you guys though.
That sucks, man.
Make some videos kissing LeBron's ass and you'll be monetized again.
But this is directed towards Robin. I know it's not to me, so it's either to AOH or Nick. But it's from Recipes with Reed again. It says LeBron won the IST but needed the play-in to make the playoffs. It's a farce. Robin, what do you have to say about this? And just a question at large about the IST and will it continue amongst what was said before?
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to Recipes with Reed. Thank you for your continued support, man. For real, I'm truly humble, guys. Thank you very much for rolling with me. And yes, I mean, this is the thing we're talking about here when you talk about the in-season tournament and we talk about the play-in. Because the LeBron James fans, the media, they try to flip it both ways. I told you, they always want it both ways. So what do they try to do? They'll spin this narrative about Michael Jordan on the Wizards. And they'll always talk about, well, Michael Jordan never made the playoffs on the Wizards. Michael Jordan didn't make the playoffs on the Wizards. But if we think now, right, if Michael Jordan had the benefit of a play-in tournament, he would have been in the play-in both those years on the Wizards. The Wizards would have qualified. They finished in the 10th seed both of those seasons. They would have been in the play-in. Now, we know the first year Michael Jordan would not have been there because he had the knee surgery. But the second season, Michael Jordan would have been available if there was a play-in. And I'm not saying that Michael Jordan would have led the Wizards to the championship, but who really wants to face Michael Jordan in the postseason? Nobody wants to face Michael Jordan in the postseason. And why is that? Because he had the reputation, right, to raise his level of play in the postseason, right? These are the facts, right? The highest scoring average in NBA's history. Michael Jordan was known for making plays when it mattered most. That was his MO. That's not a narrative or a lie. So when we think about the in-season tournament and those play-ins, these are all gimmicks that the NBA has needed during what? The LeBron James era. Once again, this exposes LeBron James even further. You have to have an in-season tournament to what? Like my man Hoop God was saying, to keep the players competitive, to get these guys to show up to work. These guys were so not interested in the regular season and showing up and playing. They had to force these guys to show up by what? Giving them more money? The in-season tournament, the winnings you get is more money and a banner, and they have the nerve to have an MVP for this joke of a thing. It's insane. And the only reason why we know they're doing this is to once again prop up the Lakers and LeBron James, because there was nothing that would lead you to believe that this season, the Los Angeles Lakers with LeBron James on the basketball court were one of the best teams in the NBA from the beginning to the end of the season. They were not at all. They were not consistent. They couldn't win on the road. LeBron James was in and out of the lineup, but somehow, some way, the Lakers found themselves with a plus 507 free throw differential once again, but only managed to win 47 games and make it barely into the 8th spot. And we all know the end of the season schedule that the Lakers had this season. So once again, it's all fraudulent and exposes that this era is not as competitive as Michael Jordan's era, the play-in tournament, the in-season tournament. These are all gimmicks. This is the NBA. If the NBA was so popular and the product was so great, then why would you need all of these gimmicks? Why would you need a guideline for guys load managing? Why would you need to have flopping guidelines? Why would you need these things? And let me not fail to mention that this season, LeBron James was the first player in the NBA to be given a technical foul for flopping. Yes, the great LeBron James was the first player. So that's another record, I guess, that they could add to the collection of records for LeBron James. Who was the first player given a technical foul for flopping in NBA's history? It was LeBron James, man. That's him, man.
Do you know how many he should have been called for before they finally gave him one?
Exactly.
I mean, they tried for him not to be the first.
Exactly.
I'll be real fast, and then we got a couple super chats that came in. But for me, the in-season tournament, I agree with all you guys. It's kind of I think it's a joke. And I saw one comment in here there. He's like, call me old school. I don't remember who said it, but if you're in here, I'm talking about you. He said, call me old school, but I remember when we had an in-season tournament, it was called the regular season. And it's to get seeded respectively into the playoffs, which is the real tournament. You don't need an in-season tournament. The real tournament is the playoffs. So I'm on board with all of that. And respect to the play-in, I actually somewhat enjoy the play-in, only because, and it's it generally just adds some sort of spark and fuel to the fire of, you got this team that may not have done as well from 10 to 6. And maybe they're number 10 and they might get a round in, or maybe 2. And the Lakers last year got to the conference finals. So it's something I think I find it entertaining personally. I don't know if I think the IST will die before the play-in. And I can see the play-in dying in the future, but at the IST, I don't understand the appeal for it at all. To me, it's laughable.
They're just trying to spice up the regular season. They're just trying to get. It feels like, the first quarter of the year, that little dead time right there at the end of the first quarter of the year. They're just trying to spice it up.
You got to start making these guys earn their money instead of offering them more money on top of what they're already guaranteed if they bother to show some competition. When they need some negative motivation. But Jesus shit, what was I going to say?
I've always said there should be some kind of incentive performance based year to year somehow. Like maybe you get a base, based on how good you are, but also, the rest of everyone's contract is sort of based on a year to year. How'd you perform that year? I've always thought that would be good incentive.
That's what I'm saying with this in-season tournament nonsense. Like they're playing for money. That's all they're playing for is more money. You're throwing more money at these guys to get them to show up, to get them to play and be more competitive, man. I don't buy it. I don't like that, man.
I never figured this out, so I'll just go ahead and be the stupid guy here. You guys explain it to me. The quote for how they came up with those brackets was randomly selected based on last performance. How can it be random and based on last year's performance? Well, honestly, that sounds like it's a contradiction. But then the Lakers were in the Western Conference Finals, and yet we're in a bracket with a bunch of shit teams. So it still doesn't make sense. And that sounds like I'm just complaining in a conspiracy theory, but that's really what happened. They were against terrible, terrible teams. How did that happen?
Oh, yeah.
They need to release the formula.
Does anyone understand how they selected it?
I don't know.
Randomly, of course.
Yeah.
Randomly based on last year.
Of course it was random. AOH, you got a super chat for $20 US here, and you have another one coming up, so I'll just do them back to back real fast. For all his king me BS, you'd figure after 21 years, LeBron would have heard the expression, heavy is the head that wears the crown, but I guess it's never showed up on the first page on any book he owns.
It's not heavy for him because everyone else is doing the lifting, but where's your crown king nothing? But
hey, wait, I got to speak on that. No, I like that term, heavy is the head that wears the crown, because that's a quote straight out of Niccolo Machiavelli, The Prince. But I have to ask this question. How can your crown be heavy when you only had a timeshare within the league? Because Kobe wore that crown more than he did. Tim Duncan wore that crown more than he did. As a matter of fact, Steph Curry won the crown 3 times on Cleveland's home court. I'm really trying to figure this out. What crown does he own when I hear these people say this? Like, he had a timeshare. I'll give him that. But no, he ain't dominated the league. That's what Michael Jordan did.
Hey, that was a $20 super chat. I got to give him a little bit more love. Thank you for that.
Hey,
especially since magically my videos that are the same they always have been are now being declared as not advertising worthy. So these things matter now. So thank you. And it was a clever quote. Hey, before I forget, Hoop God, I actually owe you a super chat that came through on my channel. Do you have a channel that I can super thank you, or can I email you or Venmo you or something?
Yeah, I'll send my email to the private chat.
Okay.
Yeah, that's something that I think that is something I think that we should try to divvy out a little bit, because the people that aren't monetized here, they have been addressed as some of these super chats. So that's a great point. I've honestly just kind of put it off to the side, not even talking about it, but not to derail from this conversation. But yeah, whether we post, or I can at least post everybody's PayPal or Venmo or chat app or whatever Cash App in my description section. Maybe we should just organize that in the future. But that's just a sidebar. I don't want to derail from this. There was another super chat for AOH. If LeBron sticks around, he's going to need a lot more black paint for the top of his head.
Man, I got a still frame of him last night. It looks so unnatural. It's just like there's like a glob of dark right here. It's right in one spot, and everything else is going away. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know if it's plugs and paint, but it just looks real fucking inconsistent and weird night to night. But thank you for the super chat. Oh, before I forget, a lot of people ask about this shirt. I've tried to make it available. Apparently, it's not acceptable in the store. It keeps getting taken down, so that's why you haven't been able to order them.
Damn.
Well,
red flagged you.
That actually happened.
You're a bad man.
That actually happened with me. They said that my store, somebody must have reported me or something, because I had a store up. I have some of my merch in the description section, but the store in itself, somebody reported me or something, and it said, "Oh, you're fraudulent or something," and we can't support you on YouTube. I'm like, I didn't even do anything. This is when I first started putting it on there, and they're like, "Yeah,
that's crazy."
Yeah, so
it's crazy how easily someone can just declare you as fraudulent. Is there a process?
I don't know, dude. I don't go around wasting my time, on watching YouTubers I disagree with and trying to ruin their channel. So I really don't know the process. I don't even block people on my channel. So I don't know anything about it, honestly, but I'm sure it's probably fairly easy. If somebody is mildly offensive, you could probably do something about it. But yeah, and this was something that was brought up. Oh, sorry, Tim Nick says the Universe Galaxy is reporting us guys 24/7.